On our first wedding anniversary, my husband ran away with my sister and blocked me. Now he's begging for forgiveness after realizing his huge mistake. I'm female, 24. My sister, Kendall, female, 26, has had a lot of issues in her life. She is manipulative and toxic and knows exactly how to use people to get exactly what she wants. Due to this, I tend to keep her away from my circle of friends because, whatever Kendall is, trouble follows. The best example of this is my time in high school, where I used to often call my friends Jules and Becker over to hang out at my place. The three of us were really close friends, and while Kendall never really got in our way or behaved rudely with my friends, it was really clear that she was attracted to Jules. But Jules and Becca were dating at the time, and despite that, Kendall kept making advances. It ended up with Jules cheating on Becca with my sister, and our whole friendship breaking apart. Granted, of course, Jules was a douche in this scenario, but Kendall was extremely manipulative, and sometimes it feels like she did it just to add some spice to her life. Like there was no regard for the importance of a relationship or respecting boundaries. I wanted to stay friends with Becca, but it was going to be too tough for her emotionally, and I respected that choice. Ever since then, I began to notice the kinds of problems Kendall brought up. Half of her boyfriends were initially dating someone else, and that just gives me the ick. She would stay with these boys for a few months at max, being a really demanding girlfriend and basically using them for their money or fun. I hate to say it, but I kept her away from my partners as well because I was afraid that she would try and steal them from me. Yeah, she was more attractive than me, but as a person, she was terrible. My parents weren't really involved in our love lives, and they didn't speak about it with Kendall. She used to often rant or confide in me about the men she was dating and using, and I used to stay silent about it. I didn't want to call her out because I knew she would react in an extremely dramatic fashion and stir stuff up. For this, I feel like I was a bad person since I knew she was treating a lot of people like trash, but I stayed out of it for my well-being. Sometimes I feel like what happened with my marriage was karma for my silence with all the other men she screwed over. I'll get to that. So, I met my husband, Matthew, 24, in college, and we started dating in our sophomore year. During college, while everyone had a lot of drama about relationships and love and messy situations, Matthew and I had a rock-solid relationship. There was never any insecurity or lack of trust. We moved in together in our last year of college, and our jobs lined up together in the same city. I felt like I had found the one. He proposed to me in 2021 when I was 22, and we had a small wedding service together after being engaged for a year. Due to work and health complications, a few of my family members couldn't come. Most importantly, Kendall didn't attend the wedding, and that honestly made me breathe a sigh of relief. She was holed up somewhere in Barbados with whoever her current boyfriend was at the time. Up until then, my sister had never met my boyfriend, except during one instance when he came with me for a family Thanksgiving. Even then, I was a little uncomfortable with how friendly my sister was to Matt, but he kept a wide berth from her. When he asked me about her behavior and why she was so touchy-touchy, I didn't want to scare him with the kind of toxic personality she has. I thought he would judge not just me, but my entire family, so I just brushed it under the rug by saying, "That's how she is." After that, there weren't a lot of chances for Matthew to interact with my family, and his whole relationship with my parents was pretty great regardless. However, things started getting more strained after that one time he met Kendall. I noticed that she had followed him on social media, and that ticked me off. I couldn't exactly tell him not to follow her because, again, I didn't want to tell my newly married husband, "Hey, my sister is a professional homewrecker." After that, Kendall came over to stay with us for a few weeks just a couple of months ago, and she was trying super hard to be involved in everything my husband and I did. She was here for work, but at the same time was taking out time to constantly be third-wheeling between Matthew and me. My husband thought it was just because she wanted to get to know him better and create a family bond, but I felt suspicious about it. But for me, it was all just a nagging feeling and not serious enough to act on. My problems with Matt were the teething problems of a newly married couple, also, I thought. 2 days ago, it was our first wedding anniversary, and Matthew hadn't even mentioned it once in the days leading up to it. I had assumed he was planning a surprise, and I had also gotten him a gift he had been really looking forward to. He left that morning without even acknowledging our anniversary and didn't come back home. I got increasingly more nervous, and when I checked my phone in the end, I saw that he had blocked my number. I also got a notification from my bank saying that a huge withdrawal had been made from my joint account. I had no idea how to react to all of this, and I called my parents about it. They also seemed to be panicking since Kendall had just vanished from her apartment. She lived back in our hometown. It didn't take a genius to put two and two together. Even though Matthew had blocked my number, I was so pissed that I opened up WhatsApp and sent him a huge tirade. I called him a jerk and told him all about who Kendall was. We had no news for my sister either. Yesterday, though, she had posted a picture from some resort near my place, and I could see Matthew's arm in the frame as well. When my dad finally got through to her on a call and asked her whether she was with my husband, she just casually denied it, saying she had decided to go on a solo trip all by herself. BS, total BS. While they were gallivanting around, I decided that I didn't want to be alone in my apartment, so I asked my parents if I could come over. They happily obliged, and I could tell Dad was seething of what Kendall had done. This was the first time they were up close and personal with the kind of trashy behavior my sister engaged in, and the fact that she stole her own sibling's husband made it so much worse. Before I left, I decided to change the locks on the apartment just in case that sorry SOB of a husband tried to come back to the house. The craziest thing is, just a few hours ago, I noticed that Matthew had unblocked me, and I guess reading all those messages made him realize that he was not a good person. He kept spamming me to get back together and fix things, but I blocked him this time. I then got a call from Kendall shouting at me for not being able to keep my man and then slandering her. I just cut the call. I have a flight to my hometown in a bit, so I haven't been able to really formulate any kind of response to all of this. I don't think I am TA in any way, to be honest, but one of my friends told me that not responding to my husband or sister at all is an a-hole thing to do. Instead, I should have just chewed them out and told my husband that I was done with him. He got to me for some reason, so now I need to know it. Being silent is an a-hole thing to do? Update 1, I reached my mom and dad and they both were really comforting. My dad asked me, what on earth has gotten into your sister to completely ruin someone's life like this? And I told him everything I knew about her. Life. Needless to say, it made them both feel uncomfortable and disappointed. It wasn't an easy conversation to have, and my parents were quite sad that I never told them about all of this earlier. They feel terrible about supporting a person who treats others so poorly, and that's made them feel kind of guilty. I don't know what's going on between Kendall and my husband right now, but I think they got into a fight. Kendall called my mom and said she was coming back from her solo trip, and well, Matthew is trying to reach out to me wherever he can. I blocked his number, he texted me on Instagram, I block him there. He tries to reach out to me from someone else's number. The last time he called me, I told him that I would take out a restraining order against him if he keeps doing this. Now Kendall is going to come back to our hometown tomorrow. Mom and Dad are going to confront her and tell her that she's cut off from the family. I will also be there, and right after that, I'm going to file for divorce from Matthew. I also need to know if anything can be done about the money in my joint account, so if anyone can help, please DM me. Update 2. The confrontation went just as you'd expect. Dramatic AF and Kendall tried everything in her power to try and minimize the damage for her. She's still running off of this whole idea that I'm slandering her, but my parents are clearly on my side. When I said, I knew you were a shitty person, Kendall, but I didn't realize that you wouldn't even leave your sister out of your shitty behavior, she blew up at me. My sister said that I wasn't fulfilling Matthew, and the fact that he chose to cheat on me is on me, not her. I nearly took a swing at her, but my parents kicked her out and told her that she wasn't welcome in the house anymore, period. Update 3. I served divorce papers to Matthew. He's back in our city and has been living with a friend since I changed the locks on him. He says that changing the locks is a felony and that he'll sue my ass off if I go ahead with a divorce, but I don't think that means jack shit. I also found out that a joint account is considered marital properties. I'll be bringing that up to you in the hearing. I spoke to a lawyer, and he said that things should easily go my way, and I can also ask for a hefty alimony, which I will. NTA. The only part of this where you're TA is the fact that you didn't call out Kendall or tell her past boyfriends about her behavior. Your friend is an understanding of your mental space and doesn't realize that you can't immediately confront your sister and husband after discovering their infidelity. Wow, OP just NTA at all. This should be on RMI the Angel because your friend is a nut job if she thinks you owe anything to your sleazebag sister and cheating husband. Next story. I'm a single dad to 3 daughters. This revolves around my middle, Juliet, 17, female. A few weeks ago, I took her shopping for her prom dress. She picked one that she absolutely loved, and she truly looks like a princess. Then last week she was very upset because she saw on Instagram that a classmate, not a friend, but someone in her grade, had bought the same dress, but in a different color. She tried asking the other girl to change, and the girl rightfully told her no. I was sympathetic and let her vent, also adding that it was a different color, so at the very least it wasn't too similar. The issue is, Juliet has been trash-talking the girl for the past week. This is very out of character for her. She's never been a gossip, but I've heard her venting to her friends about it. I let it go because what does venting really matter? Then I got a call from Juliet's history teacher saying that she overheard Juliet talking poorly about this girl repeatedly. While the girl is not in the class, and there's no evidence of bullying, she is worried it'll get there. I sat Juliet down and said, while I understand completely that this is frustrating, and I may not get all that comes with dresses and such, this isn't fair to the other girl. From what it seems, she didn't purposefully do this to hurt her. I pointed out the different colors, also offered to take her to return the dress, and she could get another if having a unique dress was that important. Juliet said that she shouldn't have to get a new dress. She kept trash-talking this girl. I finally told her, "It's a dress. Your feelings are valid, but you need to stop being so dramatic and let it go." This upset her and she left the room in tears. I tried talking to her about it, but she stayed in her room. My eldest, 22, female, told me I technically wasn't wrong, but I shouldn't have said it. I really try not to be a bumbling dad who doesn't know what he's talking about. I learned all stuff related to raising girls, have always made it very clear they can come to me for anything, etc. If I need to outsource a problem where they want a woman to talk to, they have their godmother, late wife's best friend. Was I the ass here? Update: I want to thank everyone for your feedback and advice. Some of you suggested there is much more going on here, and I agreed. I sat down with Juliet again and said, I stand by my sentiment, but I also think there has to be more going on. As I said, it's just a dress, and this isn't like her at all. Some of you suggested perhaps she had prior history with this girl. She said no, they don't even really talk. They only follow each other on social media because everyone follows everyone. I pushed more and asked why a dress was so important. She eventually admitted it wasn't, then went on to say that she's felt weird about prom this whole time and her senior year overall. When I asked why, she started crying and said she missed her mom and she wished she was here, etc. My wife passed when Juliet was 5. So she never truly had her for any of those big milestones that a girl would have with a mother. Watching her friends go through all these things with their mom reminded her that she doesn't have one. I gave her a big hug and held her while she cried. I cried a little myself. I knew that Juliet struggled with her mom's death but had no clue it was still such an issue. Once she calmed down, Juliet insisted that she hadn't ever said anything to the girl, but agreed to apologize for even asking her to change the dress. She also promised to stop talking junk. I told her next time to just talk to me about it. I miss her mom too. When my eldest was going through all these milestones, her senior year, I definitely felt that someone was missing and that my wife should be there. So, crisis is over. I know some said to ban her from going to prom, and if she had continued her behavior, I would have. But considering she's going to apologize and is letting it go, I feel that's an overreaction. NTA, you aren't wrong at all. It is just a dress. I really thought this thread would be going somewhere else. But trash-talking a girl for buying the same dress in a different color is horrible, and it is a type of bullying if she's doing it to the point where a teacher calls you about it. Honestly, I tell my child if she kept this up then I'd cancel the prom because it's not that serious at all. Next story, my fiancé and I are getting married in July. We have expressed to all our guests that we wish to have an adults-only wedding, and our guests have to make arrangements. Please find a babysitter if they have children. We have several reasons. We have to keep the guest count under 50 or else 2 of our most expensive vendors both double their prices. Also, small children cause distractions. Simply put, we know lots of people allow children at their wedding, and that's okay. We just don't prefer children at ours. Not one of our friends had any opposition to this rule. All of them considered it nice to have a break from their kids for an afternoon, and were more than happy to get a babysitter. They all agreed with us that weddings aren't kid-friendly, and it's just less complicated for everyone to find a babysitter. The only person giving us a hard time is my sister-in-law. She has what we feel is a very unhealthy relationship with her 3-year-old son. She has coddled him to the point that he screams if she leaves the room. He has to be with his mom every second, or he gets physically sick. She has that baby attached to her hip so badly that she will not allow anyone except family members to watch him. And those family members are all attending my wedding. Her and my brother are trying to guilt-trip us into letting them bring my nephew to the wedding. They feel like because they are family, they are a unique circumstance and deserve a pass. We have set a boundary, and we feel like the right thing to do is enforce that boundary. To make matters worse, they have got my mother to side with them and call me to plead their case with them. I explained to her last night that if she brings them, she will not be fully present at our wedding. She won't be able to dance with my brother, who is my best man, and if I give in, it will be unfair to all our other guests. I have accepted that my sister-in-law will not be at my wedding, and by refusing to hire a babysitter, that is the choice she's making. I'm standing my ground and saying no. It's my wedding. I paid for the whole thing. I set the date, the location, and the flavor of the cake. If I say no kids, I want no kids. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Thank you all for the kind responses. I have always been a people pleaser and tempted to give in to keep the peace, so I'm sort of new to standing up for myself. I texted my sister-in-law, and I was polite but direct and said, no, you will not bring him to the wedding. I believe the conversation went over well, and she respected our boundaries. Thank you again. NTA. It's your special day, and you deserve to keep it just like you planned. Your sister-in-law needs to teach her son not to scream and shout when she's not there, though. How will he behave in school then? You're wearing your rules, OP have the wedding of your dreams, and enjoy all the best. NTA. A child-free wedding is not a new concept, and your sister-in-law is the a-hole for trying to be the exception. Don't back down, you're not in the wrong. Good luck with the rest of your planning, and I hope you have a lovely wedding.